All right, I think we can get started. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thanks again for joining our today's webinar on the topic Beyond Dashboards Experience the Real-Time Enterprise AI with KDAPT. My name is Abdul Salam. I'm the VP of Sales, and hope you will have a useful time today looking into this webinar and the demo of the KDAPT platform. I will pass this on to Niveta for a quick introduction about the KDAPT and talk about this topic. Niveta, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Abdul. Hey everyone, this is Niveta from KARYA. So thanks everyone for joining across the APAC region. So without any further ado, let us get it into the topic. So we all know that most of our companies today rely on multiple ERP and CRM systems to manage database, sometimes even Excel, right? And while these help in storing and processing information for small and medium and also large size companies, extracting meaningful insights often require any additional effort and separate business intelligence expertise. Now imagine if your BI tool could not only visualize and analyze your data, but also answer your business question in real time. So that is exactly what KDAPT, our flagship AI-powered business intelligence solution, is designed to do. So KDAPT stands for KARYA's Data Analytics and Prediction Technology, and it brings together the power of AI, BI, and also predictive analytics. So enterprises and companies like us and you can understand what's happening now in a very short amount of time, and also what is coming next in the future. So in today's session, you will learn how KDAPT acts as a real-time enterprise AI. Before that, let us see why does 80% of in-house AI projects fail? Let's see what the number says from the global research studies. So it says 95% of AI pilots show little to no business impact, for example, like profitability. And 93% of employees are unaware and untrained or hesitant to use the AI tools. So the message is pretty clear here from the global studies. The problem isn't the AI itself. It's everything around it. The data aligning to it, the business goals, and getting people to actually use the AI tool. And honestly, that's where most of the in house efforts struggle because it's not just about having the tools. You need the right expertise to handle the data integration and the overall setup. So that is why a lot of companies today prefer working with partners like KARYA us. So instead of trying to build everything internally. So we've already seen these challenges before. We know what works and we can help you get the outcomes much faster. So without going through that trial and error phase, we can help you do that. And now, if we look at this from a reporting and data perspective, these challenges show up very clearly in today's BI environment. So, even with all of these powerful dashboard visualization, the real world challenges still exist. So, the first one we see is that BI has become too complex and it sort of created a dependency on the BI team or the IT team. So, you need someone strong in a technical perspective to just get a basic answer from your data, right? So which means only a small group of people can actually use the BI tool and create dashboards and answers out of it. And this dependency causes delays, of course. You are always looking at yesterday's data, so instead of seeing what is happening right now in real time. And not to forget about the fragmented data across multiple systems like the ERP, CRM, that is not integrated with each other. And there's so many Excel file that's not even on cloud, sitting on everyone's desktop. And because the current dashboards are pretty much static, users can see the data, but they cannot ask, for example, like a follow-up question or explore data deeper. And what works for a small team quickly breaks down when you deploy it at an enterprise level. So this is where many organizations find themselves today. I hope you can relate to this. And KDAPT is designed to fill that gap. So what is KDAPT? KDAPT is our AI-powered business intelligence solution, and KDAPT stands for KARYA Data Analytics and Prediction Technology, like I mentioned. So with KDAPT, you don't need the coding skills or specialized BI knowledge. You can just talk to your data. That's how simple it is. For example, how does it work? Let's say your company uses Microsoft Dynamics 365 CRM to manage customer data, right? So first we integrate the structured CRM data directly with KDAPT, and then you ask a simple question to KDAPT. You type the question like what were the sales for quarter 1 of 2026, and then KDAPT swiftly analyzes your integrated data and provides the answer. This is strictly from your own data that is connected to KDAPT, and the result is presented as text, and with a single click you can switch to either chart or dashboard view for clear and real-time dashboard and everything. So KDAPT is all about making AI work for people, giving every team the power to ask question, explore data, and get answer instantly right from their enterprise system. So which saves you a lot of time comparing to digging through your data manually. So let me show you a short clip of KDAP. Let me play this again first. Okay, so in this screen, in the search bar, the user simply types a question: which item takes the longest time in production? And then KDAP comes with the answer that it takes 4 days along with the list of the specific item. So yeah, it's really that simple. Just like talking with your colleague, in this case, you are actually talking with your data. Now let me show you about the architecture diagram of KDAP. So the architecture has 4 key layers. The first one is the data layer. This is the foundation which connects KDAP to your organization's private data system, for example, like ERP, CRM, and even Excel, and it brings them together in one secure place. And second one is the semantic layer. This is the brain of KDAP. It translates your plain English question that the user types into KDAP into the system that actually understands. So there is no need for coding or BI expertise for the user who is using KDAP. And third one is the LLM layer. So this is where AI comes in. This layer uses advanced models like OpenAI and Google Gemini. So once your question is processed, this layer pulls the relevant data and it analyzes it smartly and prepares a clear and meaningful response for you to take any decision. And fourth one is the representation layer. So this is the user interface where you see clear answer in text, insightful chart, dashboard, all live and in real time. And as you see on the left side of the presentation, KDAP connects seamlessly to multiple data sources like Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle, Snowflake, Postgres, MySQL, and even external data feeds like weather and even currency exchange rate. And because of the modular architecture of KDAP, it supports all of the business domain, for example, finance, sales, procurement, inventory, HR. So making KDAP a truly enterprise-wide solution, regardless of the nature of your business. So why should you use KDAPT? Because it changes how people actually interact with data. So instead of traditional dashboard, KDAP enables the conversational business intelligence feature where users can simply ask a question in plain English language and get answers immediately. And other than English, KDAP also supports other 7 languages as well. So we can set up that for you. And it is still a full business intelligence platform, but one that removes the technical barrier through a powerful text to SQL engine. That means the user don't need to know coding. And at the same time, KDAP integrates data from across the organization, bringing together information from multiple systems like ERP, CRM, all together in one place. And all of this feature that I mentioned is designed with usability in mind. So business users can explore data easily. So while the role-based access, the RBAC feature, ensures the right people see the right information. And finally, KDAP goes beyond reporting by adding predictive analytics, the prediction feature. So it helps you to not just understand what's happening, but it also helps you to anticipate what's coming next in the future. So let me show you a few examples. These are the questions every day that we have, and even leaders across the organization ask us. So, for example, a finance head or lead wants to know what's our Q2 spend versus budget. So with traditional tools, like I mentioned, you'd wait days for a report from IT or dig through spreadsheet. But with KDAPT, you just ask the question in plain English or any native language and you get the answers swiftly. And then next one, second example. So this is a prediction based question. A supply chain lead might want to know which items are likely to stock out next month. So KDAPT analyzes inventory and current orders to flag which SKUs are at risk and it gives you the answer. And if you are in the procurement team, you need visibility on which vendors are delaying deliveries. You type the question in KDAPT and it gives you the answer. So being able to get answer to a specific question from your data and in real time perfectly sums up the core advantage of KDAPT. So you can even think of it as the essence of what KDAPT does differently. So let me talk a little bit about the prediction feature of KDAPT. So the current BI tools that we all use are very good at reporting what already happened. For example, dashboard, KPIs, month-end reviews, but they explain the past, right? So the real challenge is knowing what is about to happen early enough to do something about it. So this is where KDAPT's prediction capability helps you. For example, GetUp can highlight possible revenue or margin changes before they show up in the financial result. And it can also surface demand or supply risk early before they affect the operation or a business. And it can point out the rising cost or performance gap while there is still time to fix them. So what makes this work is actually the data underneath it. KDAP works on clean and unified data from the ERP finance and operations. So you're not just looking at separate reports from different teams or different users. You're looking at your full picture of the business. So the prediction models are also goal driven. They keep learning as new data comes in. So the output stays relevant even when the conditions change. So yeah, I hope my presentation is clear and made you understand what KDAPT is all about. Now my colleague Jenny will show you the demonstration of how KDAPT works. Thank you.
Thank you, Nivita. Let's have a quick glimpse at what KDAPT looks like. To start with, every user has a unique user ID and a password for privacy and security purpose using a single sign-on option. This is how the homepage looks like. It is clean with a user-friendly interface. You can type the questions here, and this is where your conversation with KDAPT begins. The next is the thread section. Any questions you ask to KDAPT will be saved in the thread section and you can access them without rerunning the query. You can pin them for easy access. You have a schedule tab to run the query automatically at defined time intervals, for example, daily, weekly, monthly. You can also archive your questions without deleting them. Now let's see what these tabs are. The data tab is where you can gain insights just like the analysts. The modeling is a plan view of the data available in the form of tables. The knowledge is where you can view all the SQL queries that the system generates based on the question the user asks. Let us step into the realistic executive scenario to see how KDAPT's conversational analytics work. Imagine we are in a high-pressure leadership meeting. The CEO, finance head, operations manager, procurement lead are all present. Questions are coming from different departments to the CEO, and decisions have to be made immediately. Instead of waiting for reports or calling the analytics team, we open KDAPT to give answers on the spot. No coding, no reports, no designs, no data analysts, just questions, and the answer come in minutes. The CEO begins to ask the finance team, show the vendor payment and outstanding details. On the screen, KDAPT instantly displays a structured table with the vendor code, total payments, and total outstanding. Each vendor appears with the total payments and total outstanding amount. There is no manual filtering or configuration needed. The system understands the request and presents the data instantly. The CEO now has the immediate clarity on what the vendor exposure is. He continues, show the vendor aging report. On the screen, KDAPT presents the aging breakdown. For example, vendor 1001 has $3,000 in 0 to 30 days, $2,200 in 31 to 60 days, $1,800 in 60 to 90 days, and so on. What you see here is a clean, organized view of all the account payables with all the essential attributes laid out for analysis and ready for action. Now the finance team can instantly identify vendors with long outstanding and balances to access the risks. No pivot table, no Excel reports, just real-time answers. Now, the CEO wants to know on the operation department. Show the details of items with the current stock. KDAPT returns items with the highest stock levels. There are more items in the system, but the top few are clearly visible. This makes the management ready for action. Immediately, the CEO asks, show the inventory valuation along with the total cost. On the screen, we have item ID, item name, unit of measure, quantity in hand, inventory value, and the total cost. The total cost matches with the inventory value, representing that the total investment in stock. The team can now identify the stock numbers and where the capital is heavily invested in the inventory. Next, the CEO wants to know the aging of the inventory. He asks, display the inventory aging of items between 0 to 30 days, 31 to 60 days, 61 to 90 days, and 90 plus days. KDAPT instantly displays the aging breakdown. Most of the items show none across the aging categories, indicating missing unclassified aging information. This highlights a data governance opportunity instantly. The insight is immediate and transparent. The CEO then moves his attention towards the procurement team. Which item require replenishments? KDAPT instantly identifies the items with 0 or low stock levels. These items require restocking. There are additional low stock items, but these are the critical ones. Replenishment decisions can now be taken during the meeting itself. Now, the CEO turns and questions on the total spends in the procurement. Which vendor accounts for 70% of the procurement spend? KDAPT lists vendor contributing to approximately 70% of the total procurement spending, which are the payroll, US 1110, CN001, DE01002, CH001. The largest spend contribution is visibly identified. This enables negotiation strategy and risk evaluation. Finally, the CEO gets a clear understanding of the vendor payments and the outstanding details. Which vendor have the highest payment ratio compared to the total outstanding? KDAPT returns with all the vendors that have paid amount equal to or greater than that they owe, indicating overpayments or adjustments. The finance team can now review credit handling without any delay. What you have seen so long is across finance, inventory, and procurement. Every question was answered live. No technical dependency, no waiting for reports, no manual reconciliation, no data analysis. KDAPT simply understands the business questions and delivers structured, reliable data instantly. KDAPT acts as a window for you to ask questions to your data without sharing your data to the LLM. That is the power of business intelligence powered by conversational analytics. Now, let's see how prediction can help the CEO to gain future insights. We have a member from the product team, Mr. Prashant, to demonstrate you the prediction.
Hi, is there feedback?
Yeah, you can. You're audible.
Yeah, okay. Hi, thanks for introducing Journey. So I think Jagan is showing the screen, and here is an example of a similar page where a data source has been set up, and we have some sample. We have some amount of financial data that is actually being processed in this KDAPT module. What we are going to show is just the way it was shown before. A question is going to be asked. Jagan, can you show any question?
Yes.
Every question that you ask is a new question that can get generated, and there's a historic list of your questions in the left-hand side in the form of a thread. Open a thread, and you could probably, and maybe an older thread itself you can show.
Yeah, I can ask any question.
Okay. So here, if you ask a question, it goes through the whole process, talks to an LLM, gets the data that's available, and generates the SQL, and then gets the SQL processed and gets back the response data too. Once this comes through, you have multiple ways of actually seeing the same data. You have the data, you have a single line explanation of what the data is, and then you can actually see the SQL that was generated behind the scene. You could actually have a visual representation of the data in the form of a chart. And then you have another thing called prediction. This is where we take the data that has been generated and then try to actually show some models of prediction. If you can click rerun here, so here, this is a mathematical implementation of all the models that we have and what we can do. There's some amount of initial validation and predictions that we run on the data. In this data that it asked, there's month over which we can actually experiment and find out a total revenue prediction. Just do it for like 5 days, right? If you can. So because we have monthly data and we're going to run all 5 models, it's going to take some time. And it's coming back with each model has its own requirement and what it satisfies, etc. And these are some metadata from all of these predictions. MAP, RMSE allows analysts to actually make a better judgment of how valuable the information is. The confidence score in the case of it's also ordered by confidence score. So moving average is a very simple mathematical formula. It takes the last 5 or 10 and then averages it out and then tries to get the next one. But for the most part, if you see, it will be repeating in a monthly cases. But SARIMA is a 85% confidence, meaning there's more likelihood of these values being correct than not. So as an analyst, you may or may not want to know this. So if you scroll up a little bit on the screen, Jagan, and do rerun. So here, these are some in-depth, detailed mathematical requirements of what you might be or what your request might be. But we've also done this somewhat of a very simple implementation where you can just run prediction as the first thing, and you will see all options available. So we're building out more suggestive features here. For example, there's some automatic analysis of which model might be a good fit for your data, and then does a prediction, and then gives it back and gives you the answer too. Now, right now, it's very clinical in what it shows. Based on the answer that you've generated, you can actually generate predicted answers, which are mathematical models. These are resource heavy, and we do it behind the scene and just show you the information. We don't use an LLM or an AI to do advanced mathematics, and we don't send your data to another external server. So based on whatever answers you see, can you go back to the answer? Here, this data is the preview, and you can download the entire source data, and based on this we run those mathematical models. And I think this is pretty much it. And like I think in the previous slide, these for example in the left hand side in the threads, this is the 4th thread or something that Jagan has actually clicked. You can choose to schedule it and move it up to one of those scheduled events. And what happens is every day you can start seeing the same question being run at the same time, like a cron job, and the prediction can run on each data set independently. So just like how every day there might be new data coming by from your chain of events and your data source stores, you can also see the upcoming predictions changing constantly. So the way an analyst wants to use this, or the current data that they want to see, is still amiable, and we can keep changing the UI based on somebody's needs. But for now, the data is yours. The LLM helps us look into the data correctly for your English language questions. And then once that question comes, based on that answer, we can run mathematical models. That's our current setup. And I think if you can take the screen back, Nivedita, I think, can you show the presentation slide about prediction that we have?
Yeah, give me a second.
Yeah. So here, what we currently showed was the first column, time series forecasting, where we actually are showing you, based on your data available, we're doing time series analysis and running 5 models, 5 of the most advanced models that we have currently implemented. And there's always room for us to actually add more based on some people's needs. But from our expert analysis of finance and data modeling available, we think this will be a good starting point. And this can be good enough to use and understand demand forecasting and all that. But going further in the prediction, we're trying to actually build in linear regression models and gradient boosting and neural networks inside your data. But in a lot of these cases, it's not going to go to an external server. It'll be in our house, meaning our the feature of making it available to all people without wanting any serious info about what these mathematical models are. I think what we are working towards is, like I said, in this slide, you can see not just the gradient boosting and that, we also have the SVM and classifiers that we can use on non-numeric values. That is probably what we're trying to do. So then we can do that in line in your question. So as and when you ask a question and you give an answer, we're hoping to actually make some intelligent, pop-ups that actually can, or any info bits that we can add on your answer itself. So that's where we are at. I think this is pretty much all of what prediction as an additional functionality than your traditional BI models, just taking your data and showing would be. The hard work of the mathematical models that run on resources and your processors is what we can actually show inline. And I think that's where we're at. Any questions and feedback is open, and I think I can give it back to Nivedita for more examples through the entire system. Hello?
Yeah, I think we can move on to the questions. That's all about the presentation. Yeah, we have a few questions in the chat. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Prashant, Nivedita, and Jenny for your wonderful presentation. So team, everyone, now we have top of the hour, so we'd like to open the session for any Q&A. We do have a couple of questions posted in the chat window. Prashant, if you'd like to answer one by one.
Yeah,
the first
I'm
one
trying
is
to
about.
see. Yeah.
Go ahead, Prashant, please. The first one is
So
about...
I was just trying to see the question. So if somebody can read the question, I can answer. I'll be happy to answer.
Sure. The first one is from Vivek. He was specifically asked, if KDAPT can connect with SAP and HANA. We said yes. And his follow-up question is how data transfer goes from source system to target KDAPT system. Will it be batch mode extraction or near real-time CDC based transfer or both? Or in runtime, KDAPT will go in SAP system to find answers.
So we haven't. Okay, so what I'll tell you is KDAPT will, at the part of starting up the entire process, have one person from KDAPT who is a modeler who will work with you to connect your data source, meaning we will get one username, password, or authentication or credential to connect your data source and have that to generate SQL and run SQL against. But any given point a question is asked for us, we would use the generic idea of the model or the tables that we have access to and generate a reasonable SQL to hit the client's database. So with the access that you provide, we will actually hit the database and get you the data and show it. We don't store that data anywhere. We don't have access outside of that particular user credential, and that user credential can be locked down to what access the company will be requiring to give us. So with regards to having access to SAP, it is structured data. We will be able to connect to it, but so far we have not attempted that. What we are very confident of and have actual previous history is the relational database sets like Oracle, SQL, Postgres, MySQL, and a bunch of others. Most production software seems to be in Oracle and Postgres, and we have a few live clients that actually have set up their models with us. That said, we also have BigQuery and all of those things that we can connect to, and we're working towards actually connecting to unstructured data as well. So like I said, we don't actually store any data. We ask for access and use that particular username to actually get that response.
Yeah, if I can answer that, Prashant, thanks for that. Yeah. One other point we would like to say is A lot of the customers that we see already have report servers. They already have batch mode transfer that is already happening to a report server. So we want to be cognizant of the performance criteria as well. If there is a live ERP system into which thousands of terminals are connected and updates are taking place, data updates are taking place, a BI system accessing the same one and doing detailed queries, depending on how the database is structured, how powerful the database is, and performance criteria is, some people may or may not prefer a reporting system and a BI system to connect to the ERP system directly. So maybe you would have at end of the night incremental transfer to a report server. We could access that report server. From our system point of view, you point us to the database and we would go query the database. Whether the database is a live database or a report server database, it can be either way. Does it answer your question?
Yeah,
I
yes,
think he just
acknowledged.
said okay.
Yeah, he said okay. Thanks, Bala and Prashant, for clarifying this question. Vivek, I hope this satisfies. If you have additional questions, please let us know. We'll be happy to answer that as well. And the next question is from Narayanan Mutayan. Any reports or analytics are published in conventional formats with proper due diligence to the management to ensure the correct info and stats are passed to make decision. Giving analytics by making user interactive is good, but how efficient is the tool with correctness of data, stat, and info? How do you train the system?
With respect to existing reports and BI, query-based BI, we have to do some kind of a proof of concept for you, just to make sure that the queries, we are going after the same data that the reporting structure, your reporting and analytics program also is going through. So if they are connected to the same database, same kind of queries are being made, we can do a few proof of concept so that the similar queries are producing similar answers. And once you are comfortable that the queries, at the end of the day, it is basically a SQL query that is accessing the database with the proper filters and with the proper boundaries. And then the data is brought in, and then we are analyzing the data and producing the answer for you. So at the end of the day, while AI is being used for a lot of this formatting, a lot of this query build, and a lot of the semantics language and all those things, at the end of the day, we do have to run some testing, some proof of concept, some comparative user acceptance. You have to go through those processes. Only then you will feel comfortable that it is equal and presentable to management for decision making. We are trying our best to eliminate hallucination by AI. So the whole idea here is to provide enough modeling, enough guardrails in the semantic language and in the modeling system to make sure the hallucinations are prevented. So that is our goal, so that the AI hallucination is prevented by our system, and then the data comparison between existing reporting and the KDAPT query answers. You have to do a little bit of a proof of concept to feel comfortable. Hey, it's good enough to go to management. Yes.
And just to add, in one of the demos you would have seen something called an instruction. Our KARYA's modeler, who works with setting up the system for you, will put the guardrails that are needed for you, tailor-made guardrails, which also includes formats and what kind of rules you might need for a certain report to be generated. So those are things that we can write as skills. A terminology that's getting famous now is skills in Anthropic and a few other places. We have versions of that as instructions, which we can write as rules to follow in case of some report generation. So those guardrails, but like I said, our KARYA is a expert modeler working with you. We'll set it up, and it's an evolution that keeps happening, and we can, along with hallucination, we do a lot of those things. The administrator can have access to that and involve that too. Is that, I hope that answered the question.
Thanks, Prashant and Bala, for clarifying this. I believe Muthaya has to leave because of the top of the hour. We are past 10 minutes, the scheduled time. So, ladies and gentlemen, if there are any other questions, please let us know. There's a follow-up question from Vivek. Is this KDAPT system hosted on own cloud, or it can be hosted on our hyperscalers as well, like AWS and GCP, etc.?
Can do both.
Yes, it can be deployed in public clouds like AWS or Azure, or it can be deployed even in customers' on-premises network if they have like virtual machines. It's a very simple architecture to get KDAPT set up. So a dedicated infrastructure team would handle that and work hand in hand with customers to set that up. Like it can work on a Linux or a Windows-based flavor operating system, and it follows like a secure Docker container-based architecture, which keeps the platform very flexible and secure to use. At the same time, deploying KDAPT can be done in a very quick turnaround time. It doesn't need like a very longer duration to get this setup done. Also, as Prashant mentioned earlier, there is a dedicated modeling team, so that will work hand in hand with client with respect to the data setup in parallel. So those things will happen in parallel. It's not like one after the other. So setting up KDAPT, it's a very quick process. And as usual in any web applications, because it's like a web-based application, you follow like a web server, will be there so that you get like a URL based access and you could use the system. And it's also integrated with your Active Directory for security perspective. Also multi-factor authentication can be applied for security aspects. So these are all like high level things, and it can connect to any database flavor like MySQL, Postgres, or Oracle. Also, it can connect to Snowflake with connectors. And if you have some legacy databases, even we can convert those like with some APIs or suitable approach and convert those data to a structured format, whatever we have, and we can query against those data to get answers. And the other advantage with KDAPT when compared to the other tools like BI, like you can see whatever that has happened in the past with those kind of tools. With KDAPT, you can predict, and you can also like it analyzes your historical data and helps you to make decision well. That's the key advantage.
Thanks, Praveen. Vivek, hope that clarifies your question. If you have any additional questions, please do let us know. Great. Is there any other questions from others, please, before we wrap up?
Yeah, and just a note, if anybody has any inputs or requests in the future, we are open to actually having, them come in and drop pointers and need feedback. I think we can work with them to build new, functions or features as it happens.
Absolutely, Prashant.
Yeah, they're actively working on the development and are, with open eyes to get input from outside the world.
Thanks, Prashant. So thank you, everyone. So we will personally follow up with each one of you to answer any additional questions you might have, and also schedule a follow-up session for an in-depth deep dive session on the platform and see how it could fit into your environment. So if you have any final questions, please let us know. If not, we can close the session for today. We're already past 15 minutes for the scheduled time. Thanks again for everyone to join in the session today. We will close the session now. Like I said, we'll send you a follow-up email with additional materials to connect with you and schedule a follow-up session with each one of you. You all have a wonderful day today.